Welcome back to Cat News. Chess Whiz wins game against himself. Again. How does he do it? We go live to him now. I'm the best. I beat 3 pigeons earlier. And a 3-year-old. I'm 10 steps ahead of everyone. You can't beat me. Now that's confidence. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him in the future. This is Cat News. Worst internet service provider in the country tells customers to go outside. Hello. Hello. I think it's breaking up. What do you say to your customers who are justifiably upset? I say, get a life. Do you want to elaborate on that? You've got a whole world out there, just waiting to be explored. Your customers are trying to explore the World Wide Web. Think of all the rocks unturned, the enchanted forests, the waterfalls trickling from the heavens. It just seems like you're filibustering to deflect responsibility from providing a poor service. Responsibility? You want to talk responsibility? How about go out and get a job, instead of staying inside all day, on the internet? Well, you're doing a good job of making that happen. Hey, back off, pal. I don't have to put up with this. Where are you going? This interview isn't over. Who are you? Hello, this is customer support. How can I not help you today? Where did your boss go? Hello, I'll be your technician today. Where's your boss? My boss is currently unavailable right now, as he's currently hurtling 80 miles per hour into your front offices. That was Intermittent Technology CEO speaking with us live. And coming up in our next segment, how to steal your neighbor's Wi-Fi. This is Cat News. Scientists have recently discovered 15 new species that I'll now be eating. Wow. Just look at this scientific breakthrough. Delectable. Almost makes you want to cry while you set up the dinner table. I've always wanted to eat an alien. Well, that was that informative news story. Check back in for more breaking news. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Cat News. A $5,003 watch tells the exact time you wasted your money. The watch comes with multiple features, such as blinding bystanders with its tacky gold coating, and making you a target of local roving thieving gangs, or as I like to call them, kids. And finally, it can tell you the time in 24 different hours, just to remind you of the poor choices you've made in life when the depressive moods hit in at 2 a.m. What a steal. That was Cat News, and thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Movie aficionado loves movies so much, he watches them in fast forward. The Penbury local tells us that he wants to maximize efficiency so he can watch as many films as possible. Asked what his favourite movies are, he tells us, short ones. And when asked what got him into movies, he tells us, unemployment. Well, it's good to know we have a thriving appreciation for the arts in this nation. Thank you, everyone. Now, don't fast forward through this. Crowd cheers as father gets beloved franchise mascot in a headlock. In today's story, we find out that there are morals for children to learn early in life, and morals for mascots to learn late in life, in the form of pressure applied to vital arteries. I'm sure this mascot will never forget this one. When they wake up, of course. And for the kids, maybe give it a day before asking Dad for another ice cream. This was Cat News. Have a nice day. This is Cat News. Romantic candlelit dinner melts hearts and furniture. We all want some love in life. And is this a heartwarming story? A couple thought they were going to have a night to remember. Well, they achieved that, as they dined on their charred pork chop. It was just a normal night, until they notice their cheap and flammable curtains catch fire. The couple made their escape. When available for an interview, they tell us that they're just happy they have each other. Let's be thankful that's the response, as they have nothing left after losing their possessions in the fire. This was Cat News. Safe and single. This is Cat News. Crisis. Overweight man steps up to the plate and eats it. We thought we'd found our unlikely hero at this dire time, but our hopes have been dashed once again. When he said greed will be the end of this society, I didn't think they meant this way. I suggest you run, if you're able, if anyone is these days. Stay safe, everyone. Celebration amidst tragedy, as natural disaster tears down hideous monument. It's been a rough week for citizens of this nation, and even rougher for the eyesore of a statue recently commissioned in the city square. The statue took 10 years to make, with the sculptor asking himself why he even bothered now. If only he asked himself that same question 10 years ago. Remember, folks, there's a silver lining even in the bad times. Have a nice day. It's often said to be the change you want to see in the world, which is why I removed my neighbour's windshield wipers in the early hours of the night. It's also the mantra of one consumer advocate caught on camera as he championed all of our rights to amazing customer service. The incident took place late last night. About the same time, I threw the wipers in the trash. The worker had deprived this man of his God-given right to an extra nugget, as written in the menu, which is basically a legal document. If my 4 months of law school taught me anything, the man received his nugget in the end, while the worker received his last paycheck. Thankfully, we have patriots like this man tirelessly fighting for our rights in every deteriorating seedy fast food restaurant across this great nation. Have a nice day, and be sure to berate a customer service worker to remind them the value of earning a buck. Tears as son leaves family home for better life in the garage. It's that day of mixed emotions that every parent expects to go through. Proud to see them leave the nest. Sad to never hear them beyond the jammed by foot bedroom door again. But it's something that has to happen for them to gain their independence. Which is why it's going to feel like only yesterday when you cross paths on the driveway tomorrow morning. I think I'm welling up. People, the economy is struggling. And this is just one example. Who's looking out for the little guy who got blown away last night? Huh? Who's looking out for him? I can tell you, it's not our corrupt politicians. It disgusts me. Where am I going to get a hot dog after work now? Coming up in our next segment, Senator Johnson speaks to us about his amazing career. This is Cat News, and there's an unidentified flying object out there. And I'm not talking about the eggs I threw at your window this morning. Just what could it be? Someone who ought to know is here in the studio to discuss. Dave, thank you for joining us. Tell us, what is going on? I take it from your silence that you're communicating just how much of a mystery this is. Wow, there really is a universe out there beyond my ego. Dave, thank you for being with us today. And thank you, audience. Have a wonderful evening. And if you're watching this on the 10 AM repeat, get a job. Tragedy strikes again. As a patient asking for Dr. Jeff, BA, BSc, MA, MBA, MSc, MFA, JD, PhD, MD, succumbed to his wounds. It's a shame he couldn't reach him in time, as he could have been then referred to another doctor, since Dr. Jeff is terrible. I know this because I now have one foot. This was Cat News. Have a nice day. A new wonder drug has recently been invented. Just look at my results, which are unrelated to the new medication. I had a tapeworm, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm thankful for it. Moving on. There's not much information yet on this mystery drug, other than it's available to anyone, anywhere. This was Cat News. Now fitting a size 20. Thank you. This is Cat News, and I'm glad we're here today. I'm sorry to say this, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to tell you this new story. Maybe at a later date, at least for now. I need time to myself to process it, and to learn to read. Thank you for understanding. Have a nice day. It's often said that you can't run away from your problems. Well, my fugitive status says otherwise. A getaway driver in last night's breaking news story is still on the run, as he doesn't know how to drive. His tragic past will continue to haunt him, at least until he gets a fake passport. We'll keep you updated. This was Cat News. Still recovering from my trauma, and have a nice day. Your favorite TV show is coming back from the dead. Literally, we're truly living through the golden age of TV. And now, so is this A-list star. But it has to be asked if this is the correct usage of modern medical advancements. Yes, leave some room on the sofa for me. This was Cat News, changing the channel. This is Cat News. Now, it's crucial to stay safe on the road, which is why I'll be helping new drivers keep on their toes by ramming into them. You might be thinking, how could this be allowed? To which I replied to the police officer, I'll see you on the road. This was Cat News, keeping you safe. Have a nice drive home. It was a sight that was tragic. The destruction of that hairline was like something I've never seen before. There was also the destruction of a generation of people's homes, a path of ruin left in the wake of the tornado. But there was one bright moment. I now didn't have to look at that hairline again, as this victim of male pattern baldness was reunited once again with his wig. This was Cat News. Fashion is serious business, and if you're not fashionable, you shouldn't have rights. That was the opening sentence of my college thesis, which doesn't exist now. The college, this up-and-coming star of the catwalk, is taking things to the next level by showing us all the importance of authenticity. I think I'm feeling inspired. A man with a comically large hand was seen waving yesterday. It caused quite the scene, as everyone waved back, only for it to be revealed that he was waving to his friend, 5,000 miles away, across the Atlantic Ocean. It's a mistake we've all made. Just imagine buying gloves. This was Cat News, about to meet my maker. Can you hear that? That's the sound of the singer's career ending, if it even existed in the first place. Scientists are saying this may be the first time the sound of failure has ever been detectable, as such a vacuum was left after last night's concert. The singer was available for comment, but we didn't want one. And who would? This was Cat News, retiring before my inevitable failure. 80s fitness craze, now believed to be a collective dream, as obesity rates surge. It's not just you. It seems scientists have determined that all that yoga and stretching was all just one big dream, as the numbers simply don't add up. That's not a metaphor. My scales and everyone else's are broken. Doctors have recommended that we eat less and exercise more. I recommend that doctor should shut his mouth and keep his recommendations to himself. You'll have to wrestle my ice cream out of my fat paws. This was Cat News. Blown the legs out on this chair. It's the last time we'll see him again, as Sean the stuntman has decided to retire mid-flight. He's also left the Earth's stratosphere. His family has asked us all to say goodbye, and to be sure to wear sunglasses while we do. If only Sean had taken similar safety precautions, he'd see that this was a stupid idea. What a tragedy. He had such a promising career. This was Cat News, having a better day than Sean. It's the middle of the most important case that this town has seen. In the biggest corruption scandal since I got my hand caught in the company vending machine. The lawyer can be seen presenting his case now, along with his underwear. How embarrassing. I have the same pair. We'll keep you updated on how all this turns out. And before you ask, no, you can't crash at mine. This is Cat News. People are complaining that the doctors in this town don't know what they're doing. In particular, a caller who contacted us today. To which I say, at least your grandmother got a nice send-off in the season 2 finale. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I said that. That was a spoiler. Hopefully we'll hear less complaining as the casualties mount. This was Cat News. Missing Cat Hospital for this. I'll see you later. This is Cat News. Watch out! It's a chicken wing. That was a statement from one of the eyewitnesses, with the other witness losing both of their eyes. So now they're just a witness, which will make this case substantially more difficult when it goes to trial. Frankly, I think the customer was in the wrong. They entered the fast food restaurant and ordered the food. What did they think was going to happen? The restaurant's owner is an honourable man, but that's just my opinion. That hasn't been bought off by a lifetime supply of chicken in a bucket. This was Cat News. I'll see you from the jury. It's a question we all have to reckon with. Should I take that 5th vacation? More on that later. An unambitious kid has told his teacher that he wants to be an adult when he grows up. She told him to aim higher. He replied, he did. You can't argue with that. They say that children are the future. I don't know if anyone believes that, but we need adults. They can't be children forever. Where do they get teachers these days? This was Cat News. Forever Young. What's that behind you? It's the reality TV industry going under. What an amazing journey for these stars. To the unemployment office. We've been haunted by bad TV for years now, and it looks like my communications have finally been heard. Of course, many people have lost their job, which is sad. It should have been all of them. That wasn't me. It was a ghost. See how easy that was? What's that? My producer has just told me that I'm fired too. This was Cat News. About to haunt my ex-boss. It's that time of year again. The next year. After 365 days on the job, this young graduate starting out in his career tells us he's just getting started. Wow. I love the confidence. We asked for further comments, but he told us to leave him alone, and that he'd now lost count and has to start over again. We're lucky to have such productive members of this nation. Thank you for your work. This was Cat News, reporting the stories that matter. It can decide your fate. Yet, it's something we know nothing about. People discovered its powers far in the distant past, 20 years ago, and found that it took the responsibility away from condemning someone's life. Such is the law of the universe, and who are you to question that? This was Cat News. Coming up next in health, why eating the 5th tin of beans out of the can is bad for you. Save some for me. They're the unsung heroes of our age. They're for us in our darkest moments, while offering us unbelievable deals. When your family and friends are selfishly sleeping at 3 a.m, they're there calling you incessantly, because that's just how much they care. So next time you hear the phone ring, how about you think of them for a change? Thank you, telemarketers, for being there. This was Cat News. Pick up the phone. I have an amazing offer that you don't want to miss out on. It's that time of year again, where we begin our annual diet. Now, people talk about getting to the finish line, achieve your goals, lose weight, put that baguette down and leave the shop. In this culture obsessed with outcomes, I think, and I'm being brave here, we need to celebrate making it to the starting line, because that's where our journey begins. Looking yourself in the mirror and realizing your body doesn't fit in it. So pat yourself on the back when your hands are not occupied by food, because thinking about beginning is the most important part. This was Cat News. Starting my diet tomorrow. The theatres are imploding. More on that attack later. It's been reported that theatre attendance is on a continual decline, with enjoyers of cinema opting for different avenues, mostly by watching through their neighbour's window. It's not just to save money, it's set to foster a sense of community, and I'd know that because I was there last night too. Theatre used to be a shared experience, so come join me tonight as we watch through my neighbour's living room window. This was Cat News, watching that movie with you. Sleep is for the weak, which is why I've been awake now for 14 days. You're really missing out on life with all that sleep. Just look at what a great time I'm having. I'm not weak. Where was I? Oh yeah. I think I've made a solid case for why sleep is the great con of our age. This was Cat News. Not closing my eyes. An aging actor has been taken to hospital after breaking his femur while picking up the phone. Maybe it was finally his big break. It wasn't. The paramedic at the scene told us it was a wrong number. Let's look back on his long, illustrious career. It's all very sad. His family has released a comment. I'm sure we all share the same sentiments in this difficult time. This was Cat News. We're rooting for you. It's a travesty. Just look at it. I feel so sorry for it. Those are just some of the comments I received when visiting the zoo this past weekend. Yes, it's no secret that the zoo has been experiencing some issues lately, with patrons pointing and laughing, while the monkeys stoically eat their bananas, enduring the onslaught of insults from their betters. Barry, 54, sports coach, who's just accomplished his 3rd chronic illness. Such is the state of our cherished zoo, which has been a lifeline for our tourism industry. I do have one suggestion that could save the day. We should lock the guests in the zoo, then build a zoo around it. Hang on, I'm getting a call. Yes? This is Cat News. Yes. That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the zoo. We just saved the day. It's finally that time, once again. where we collectively look at the moon, like we all just got done reading the latest young adult romance novel. Scientists say to take safety precautions. I can tell you, I'm already blind. You know, I never had much interest in science, and after today, I still don't. This was Cat News, blocking out science. Have a nice day. Is it really a party if it's only you? More on interesting thoughts later. Yes, we've all been there, sitting 5 centimeters away from the speakers, really getting into the groove, as your brain thinks it's just landed onto a war zone. And it is a war on fun, so be sure to turn it up before the fun police burst through your door, not unlike how your eardrum burst earlier in the night. This was Cat News. I can't hear you. It's an impressive feat of athleticism. He got into yoga as a young man and found that he couldn't stop. It was a way to de-stress, and it looks like it's worked. If tranquility had an image, we were lucky enough to get a comment from this peaceful soul. Wow, where do I sign up? This was Cat News. Friends and people, I'm here yesterday with good news. It turns out we can all read amazing now, as the numbers keep going up. This can be all thankful to the great parents of this nation, doing the important work of reading their mounting bills out loud to their childs, accelerating our skills. I also own my first book now. It nicely fits on my shelf. There was just enough space. This was Cat News, successfully reading from a teleprompter. Layoffs have been in the news recently, which is why I'm doing this show in my basement now. Corporations now have to get lean. In this difficult economic environment, top CEOs are saying they can achieve this by really putting your back into your work, and to stop half-assing it. Really give it to that memo until the paper tears. That's a sign of productivity. Asking the CEO what he's doing for his part, he says he just flung his folder out the window, hitting some poor unsuspecting bystander on the head, who'll now be out of work for a month. You have to crack a few heads to make a buck in these tough times. He has my vote of confidence. This was Cat News, thanking our business leaders. It's one small step for man, cat, and one giant step backwards for all of us. I wish I was on that ship. I'm sorry to say, but we're stuck down here in this wasteland. $5 billion into space research. Also one guy can leave this place and not report back. 20 years for naught. Is anyone actually interested in space? I feel like I'm the only one. Never mind. I'll just look up at the night sky and see him waving back down at me, laughing at my wasted tax dollars. This was Cat News. This is Cat News. We're the only news corporation willing to report on this, but I'm here today to tell you that Grandma's special broth has finally ran out of ingredients. I know. I didn't believe it either. Then I saw my shoe, and let me tell you, it tasted good. That was the Cat News update. Stay tuned, because up next, we're going to be talking to the man with the smoothest hands through the door, as he's been trapped in there for 20 years. His hand keeps slipping on the doorknob. It's times like these where there's an opportunity to take a moment to reflect on the sacredness of life, and also what an amazing movie this incident could be turned into. But also the sad part. Funds are being raised for those affected, and also for the script that I'm writing after this show. What a tragic end to this day. Oh, I could put that in Act 1. This was Cat News, coming to a cinema near you. I'm feeling lucky. That's what I said before I walked into the casino last night. It isn't what I said when I walked out, because I was crying. But unlike me, there's some lucky folks out there, like this lucky man, who's been almost winning for 5 years now. He's going to make a fortune. Then he can replace the fortune he spent on making his new fortune. We'll come back to this story in another 5 years, with an update to see his progress. Something tells me we'll have ourselves a winner. Maybe his luck will rub off on me. This was Cat News, still crying. Animation is truly a great art form. I'd know, because of the many hours of animation that goes into this show. People say they want original movies, that they're tired of franchises, which is why the movie industry is going to make an original biopic movie of my embarrassing life, and turn it into a franchise. It's safe to say, I hate animation. How can I be a failure if I have my own movie? Checkmate. This was Cat News. Don't go and see it. Can you feel that in your bones? That's arthritis. It's no secret that I've been dancing lately. In fact, it's the only way I get through my day. Don't mind the coffee. I spilt it on my way in. It's no secret because I revealed my final move on a dance floor late last night, and the world saw it. 25 people saw it. 25 people who will never dance again. That was my trophy, and I think I deserved it last night. So I made my own. Wow, that's gonna go in the trophy cabinet, with all the other trophies I made. This was Cat News, the rightful winner. The solar eclipse has come and gone. Not that I noticed, which is why today we're giving tips on how you can relive the magic. Now there's many ways, such as repeatedly asking your neighbour if they saw it. Be sure to ask for the 5th time, just to be sure. And if they close the door on your face, don't worry, because you can call them from the comfort of your own home, or someone else's home, or anywhere, as long as you have access to a phone. And if you're feeling a little selfish, you can keep it all to yourself by staying inside and closing all your curtains to get the same effect, a cosmic event in your own very living room. And now for a demonstration. Now that seems like it was a nifty little trick. It wasn't. The power's gone out. This was Cat News, lost in the abyss. Creepy mansion just got creepier as I enter my home. Hey, it's just a regular house, and I'm not creepy. You know, people watch this show to be informed, not to watch office politics. Someone at Cat News wrote that headline. You know what's creepy? Following me and writing stories, and those weird dolls I have on the shelves in all 16 rooms. Yes, the house is a mess. I'm a mess. Whoever it was, you're out of line, and you're not invited to the Christmas party. That wasn't happening, but it's definitely not happening now. This was Cat News, not being creepy. Folks, these are hard times. I have no money. My boss has no money. We're all struggling, which is why this discount vacation is such a steal. Yes, you could be looking down on a beautiful tropical island, just taking in the view. There's only one view. Ah, paradise. I can imagine it now. The engines are shutting down. I've lost control. Don't take my word for it. It says it in the brochure. And how about these happy customers? Wow, I've already started packing. This was Cat News. Has anyone seen my sandals? We've all been there. Asked to spell a word we've never heard of, in front of millions of people, watching and judging. At least I have, when I was forced into the spelling bee in my youth. My parents wanted me to be a prodigy. I couldn't spell it. Well, I'm a success now, Mom. Dad. I'm the most watched TV news channel in this place. People are watching me. And I wish they'd go away. Shoo, go away. Shoo, go bother the pigeons. Where was I? Oh yeah, I worked for this. By applying and getting the job the next day. But I still worked for this. I feel better now. This was Cat News. Have a great day. It's Fashion Week, and we're starting it off in style. Just look at my apparel. I'll take the awkward silence as overwhelming approval. Now, you might be asking, Cat News host, where did you get that cool shirt? Well, and thank you for asking. How did you get my number? I made it myself. Stayed up all night on the sewing machine, and I think I did a good job. I'd pat myself on the back, but I don't want to get paint on my hand. I use too much paint. I feel sick. I hope you're having an amazing fashion week. I know I am. This was Cat News, stepping out in style. I'm happy to say we've got some good news today. Yes, the economy has seen better days, but the numbers are in for this month, and it's looking good. We have a shock jump in economic growth. I wonder who that was. It certainly wasn't me. As you can see on the graph that I drew 10 minutes before the show, on the left was when we were all living in squalor and miserable, and on the right is now, where we're all living in slightly less squalor and still miserable. But look at those trinkets soar. Wow. Now, you might be asking, will this actually help the economy? Or is it just numbers on a screen? No real productivity. To which I say, stop spoiling the good news. Do you want to be poor forever? Or do you want to be dubiously wealthy? That's what I thought. This was Cat News. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to buy myself a useless trinket. It's thought of as just an innocent knife for the kids, where they can receive chocolates and candies from weird strangers. But is there something sinister at play here? We're talking today about the Great Killer. No, not the reformed murderer who mows my lawn. I'm talking about sweets and candy. It might just seem like one little bite, but a moment on the lips is a lifetime in and out of hospital, culminating in you being told that you have type 2 diabetes. So next time you're thinking of taking your kids out for Halloween, don't. This was Cat News, protecting the nation. It's important for victims to get justice, which is why there's nothing but confidence in this local detective, who recently found the keys he lost 10 years ago. I wouldn't want him on my trail. Yes, justice will be delivered. Very slowly. Eventually. And that's a guarantee. Maybe. Feel safe knowing that the law is by your side. Looking down the back of the sofa. This was Cat News. They were behind the plant pot. It's the most valuable artifact known to man. Right next to my wig. Passed down from generation to generation. Many brave souls have travelled far and wide to try take it. And as you can see, they failed. As for the ancient artifact, it's protected by a boring puzzle that stopped every would-be thief. Trivia from 60s TV. What company sells the most toothpaste each year? And after you've answered those questions, next, you have to move some shapes around. What a blast. This was Cat News. Her intact. Loneliness is an epidemic, and it doesn't help when you eat your only friend. But I'm an exception to this trend. I haven't left this place for years, and I'm glad I've got everything I need down here in this basement. Except friends. Please don't leave. This was cat news. Down here, all alone, eating ice cream. 50 years. That's how long this contestant has been preparing for this game show contest. And it's paid off. $200 to be precise. Some may say that it wasn't worth it, that it was a waste of time. That's not for me to say. The only question is, what's he gonna spend it on after he's paid the $190 in gas it cost him to get home? 50 years of study didn't prepare him for that question. This was cat news, not wasting my life. Fellow members, welcome to the show. In a world full of chaos, we need leaders who are talking sense. We don't need to care about the economy or healthcare when we have crystals. In fact, our great leader has already solved the economy with new membership perks like these 20% off coupons for your nearest grocery store. So, what are you waiting for? Join now. This was Cat News. Impartial, unbiased reporting. It's a difficult time during this food shortage. We're all hungry, but especially me. I'm sorry for clearing out the pantry. In my defense, I was hungry. Now, before you go grab your pitchforks, I've already saved the day because I found one bag of rice that I must have missed. And you'll be happy to know there's enough for all 1 million of us. I counted before the show, just as long as no one is greedy. Now, if everyone will form a line outside my basement, I'll start handing them out one by one. This was Cat News. You only get one. Dear Diary, I'm feeling fat today. And it's not because I'm about to burst out of these jeans. It's because I haven't received a compliment. I'll leave it there for today. Oh, didn't see you there. This is Cat News. There's a lot of talk these days about getting in touch with your emotions, which is why I've started my own diary. And I suggest you do too. It's good to really pour out all your emotions. Get it all off your chest. It's why I always seem so calm. You should see my diary. So let's do a good thing and give me a compliment. This was Cat News. Feeling fat. I know what you're thinking. Cat News host, why aren't you in this competition? And let me just say, I'm right there with you. But apparently, I didn't meet the criteria. Yeah, of being ugly. That's another trophy for me. I prepared a speech. I'd like to thank my audience, who are there with me through the bad times and the even worse times. And then I ran out of ink. This was Cat News. Stay beautiful. The rich keep getting richer. It's a saying we're hearing more and more, because I keep saying it. It's become a challenge for policymakers in these uncertain times. All I know is that you're not going to stop me making more money, unless I run out of crayons or paper. But until that day, I'm just going to keep getting richer. This was Cat News. Moving on to my yellow crayon. This is Cat News. And there's been an alien outbreak from some lab somewhere. Some have described it as a freak, which I thought was a bit much. I know that there are many important questions being asked right now. People want to know what's going on, and we're here to answer those pressing questions. No, it's not edible. Believe me, I tried. Who knows how this story will develop? And frankly, I've lost interest. Why care if you can't eat it? This was Cat News, keeping the nation informed. It's good to get outside, to breathe in the fresh air. But not if you're this unhappy camper. Yes, people want you to believe that the outside isn't dangerous, that it's good for you to get out there. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not, because of stories like this. You need to stay inside and watch Cat News while we tell you about all the other bird attacks that we saved you from. All 4 of them in a 50-year period. You won't find this on any other news network. This was Cat News doing you a service. We can't get any reception here in Cat Town, which is why we're all perpetually angry and have communication problems. My therapist is making a killing, but there's one method of communication that has been forgotten. Until now. Yes, messages in a bottle, because late last night, one was found washed up on shore. Upon taking a note out of the bottle, it simply read, "Another drink. A worthy journey, to be sure." Well, let me just say, the drink is on its way. This was Cat News. It's on me. Today, we're talking about sewage. At least, that's what one resident called it. It was in fact Mrs. Jackson's cooking. The incident kicked off when she was spotted dumping it in a local river, which is against the law, as she is interfering with the local ecosystem by killing it. All I'm saying is that it could have done with a pinch of salt and maybe some spices. She could have taken my advice. Now she's taking her lawyers. This was Cat News. It's not that bad. This is Cat News. He might have said something catchy 10 years ago, when he coined the phrase, "best thing since sliced bread." And that would have been great. But he hasn't stopped. We've had numerous complaints that objects ranging from dishwashers to microwaves to even greeting cards shaped like little hearts have been sliced in 2. That's just sick. This man needs to be stopped before he slices all of us. Romance. I remember my first love. Now I hate myself. Moving on. There's many gestures to show the loved one in your life that you care about them. But there's only one that really drives it home, that you care deeply. I think I'm gonna tear up. So go on. Go tell your significant other that you love them. This was Cat News. Love is in the air, along with my thumb. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna drink it anyway. I regret that. But that's why this show is so important. Because how would you know not to drink this if I didn't drink it first? It tastes terrible. The more time goes on, the more I regret doing that. When you see it on the shelves, I'd give it a pass. This was Cat News. I think I just lost my taste buds. I was supposed to be going on a great adventure, but I had no one to carry me. I also couldn't read the map. Some saboteur had drawn all these lines on it, and there was a fat finger in the way. So I decided to call it a day, and went on a great adventure on my sofa, and watched an entire DVD box set of my favourite show. 90 years of content, available now at a store near you. You're really missing out. This was Cat News, about to start Season 2. I'm living in constant fear. Picture this. I was just out having a picnic, being harassed by pigeons and the police, minding my own business, tucking into a sandwich I made all by myself, when all of a sudden a family of 5 flanked me on all sides, asking me how I was. I thought to myself, I don't remember consenting to this conversation. All I want in life is to be left alone to shove sandwiches in my face and think about what could have been in my life. But no, I can't have that. So I'll answer your question here, family. I'm not doing well. As you might have noticed, while I was crying while spreading my mustard. I've actually been spiraling for years now, but that's for another show. That's the end of my story. They were a lovely family though. This was cat news. Off to go get into an altercation with the local pigeons. It's important to look after your skin, like I do. I may look like I'm 50, and I feel it, but I'm actually 4. I look great because I'm using this new cream. My skin feels like it's burning, so it must be working. That's a thumbs up from me. I'd give one now, but it's too painful to move. This was cat news, suffering in silence. There's something going on, and I'm getting worried. A man has been spotted standing on a street corner, screaming. There's obviously a horrible incident afoot, but the police can't act until we know the details. We're going to have round-the-clock coverage of this developing story. Stay tuned and stay safe. Coming up next, my lunch break. It's a fine art, swishing it around in your mouth, then saying something that doesn't make sense. And that's before you're drunk. But this cat doesn't seem like he's taking it very seriously. People in this industry have spent an entire lifetime preparing for this role by failing at everything else. And it's not fair. How are we supposed to be taken seriously for the productive members of society that we are? This is cat news. He's drinking my wine now. The day has finally come where this man has decided what he wants to do with his life. At the ripe young age of 90. Just put yourself in his shoes. Or maybe not. They probably smell. So use your imagination instead. This is the most important decision of your life. Oh, hang on. I'm receiving a message in my headset that he's about to choose. He's fell asleep again. Well, we will get right back to you when he wakes up. In 10 hours. Stay tuned. It was a thoughtful Christmas gift. I appreciated it, despite the subtext of calling me fat. Then they called me fat. They were a nice fit though. But as I got through to the middle of the year, something felt sinister, other than the threatening messages piling up on my answer phone. That's right, I was feeling slim, svelte even, and I thought to myself, this is wrong. So I dusted off my mirror and was met with someone who looked like me, but was borderline obese. This is a warning to all the cats wearing elastic pants right now. You're living in a fantasy. It's too late for me, but maybe I can save you. This was cat news, going home to a rotisserie chicken. It's the cool new restaurant that's just opened, after the last cool new restaurant closed down 2 months ago. But something tells me this is gonna be a success. I can just feel it in my stomach, which is entirely the reasoning the founder set it up on. Can't even use a calculator. He just put his trust in my judgment, and for that, I thank him. And in return, he can sleep on my couch when it inevitably goes under. But in the meantime, free milkshakes for me. This was cat news. Head on down now. It's a special day. The selection on display at this table is unbelievable. Mini sandwiches, pastries, cookies, and salmon. Just wow. I think I'm gonna tear up. I'm just glad we've all gathered here today to watch me eat all this delicious food. Thank you for coming, everyone. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget to congratulate the caterers on the amazing job they did on the buffet. Loneliness is an epidemic, and it doesn't help when you eat your only friend. But I'm an exception to this trend. I haven't left this place for years, and I'm glad I've got everything I need down here in this basement. Accept friends. Please don't leave. This was Cat News. Down here, all alone, eating ice cream. Look at it. Do you know how much that's worth? Well, neither do I. That's what the guy in my local shop said. It seems I'm stuck with this beautiful gem that's worth nothing, apparently. Maybe I can sell it on the internet. Why do I buy things at 3 a.m? This was Cat News. Are you interested in a priceless gem? I still have that one-time cutlery set of the Queen. Limited edition. Why do I keep buying this stuff? It's a massive scandal. More on what I said about her dessert later. A celebrity. Yes, you heard that right. A celebrity has been caught in an embezzlement scandal. I know, it's frankly unbelievable. We look to and put our trust in them to be the better people that they are. And then they go and disappoint us all. I just didn't think I'd find out like this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I can recover from this. I'm gonna have to take down my collage. This was Cat News. Sad and overwhelmed. Does anyone want to buy a signed picture? We at Cat News appreciate the arts. And by the arts, I mean my macaroni paintings I do on the weekends. It's in my blood. In fact, one of my ancestors was involved in the Sistine Chapel. He's actually pretty famous. You might have heard of him. Yes, it's something I'm very proud about. There he was, standing in history, handing the paint to Michelangelo. He later went on to compose a minor work on the back of a burnt-out building, and then was unceremoniously killed for vandalism. But enough about my illustrious family background, because today we're talking about art, and not just any art, street mimes. Have you seen anything like it? Wow, he really captures the desperation. It's almost believable. That's why the arts are important, people, for performances like that. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Where did I put my macaroni? This is Cat News. Hello. Starting off with a sad story today. The ball pit, as can be seen here, is closing down. It's been the cornerstone of our community for 15 years. But, and someone has to say it, there was never enough balls. A design oversight, if I ever saw one. This could have been prevented, but the builders said it was a cost-cutting measure. I wish I had better news. And I do, because I took the ball home before the building was unnecessarily demolished. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. Well, turns out this man really is old and wise, as he's been missing out on paying rent for the past 40 years. We all just thought he was up there because we ran out of room in a nursing home, but apparently not. It's a shame I'm not on top of a mountain myself, as I'm down here in the basement, 5 meters away from the Earth's core. This was Cat News. I can feel the heat on my feet. Have a nice day. We all like to dance. But what are the career prospects for those who like to move? Go to this graph. Yes, informative. Well, that settles that. If you're thinking of dancing, do it after you've got a job. This was Cat News. I'm sick of people trying to stop me from dancing. Hi, I just got back from the best time of my life. It was absolutely electric. You should have seen the crowds shouting my name angrily as they waited in line. I took home a memento to remember such an amazing day. Now I know what a tea bag feels like. This was Cat News, about to go for another ride. $50,000. That's how much my figurine collection is worth. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Why would you spend $50,000 on figurines when you live in a basement? And you'd be right to ask that. Well, I'll answer it. Because I feel emotionally fulfilled. When I smell that overpriced plastic, when I see it there, representing lost time, money, friends. This was Cat News, about to log on and get myself my 829th. Come on, dopamine. We all want great hair, but is it really that important? What about all the other things in life, like family, friends, your career, the great mysteries of the universe? Oh, who am I kidding? I want my hair back. Why me? I'm back. Sorry about that. I pulled myself out of that dark, unforgiving, depressing hole with lots of meditation, reflection, and by getting myself a hairpiece. Who needs a healthy self-esteem and contentment when you have a cheap polyester wig? This was Cat News, jealous of my own hair. This is Cat News. My car is for sale. It's against regulations to flog it on the show, but I had no luck with my billboard ads. It's a great car. It's never let me down, because it's never started. The guy who sold it to me said there was an engine. And he was right. There was an engine a long time ago. Anyway, please buy my car. That was the sales pitch. Thank you and good night. Oh yeah, and we have some news coming up in the next segment. It's important to follow the law. It's also important to run away from the law if you've broke it, which is why I'm currently making my way down a motorway across state borders. Stay tuned for more updates. I nearly hit the back of someone's car right now. There's a taster of the kind of updates that you'll get. Have a nice day. Oh, I almost forgot. Follow the law. Life is about the little moments. Like this one. Yes, moments like this we can all look back on and cheer and smile over the fond memories. He really looks like he's enjoying that sandwich. Slow down, it's not going anywhere. How embarrassing. Well, no matter. It's immortalized in picture form for eternity. This was Cat News. Cherish your memories. Hi, that's enough of intros. Now it's time for the nature segment. Hi, welcome to nature. I hate it. Apparently, this is the world's most peaceful bird. It's news to me. I'd like to speak to the scientists who decided that, but as you can see, I'm a little preoccupied, appreciating nature. This was Cat News. Will someone get this bird off my face? Thank you. Back to the studio. Wow, looks like a great time. Stay tuned. Winning an award is the proudest moment of your life. It was for me when I won Worst Wedding of the Year. 2 years in a row, I might add. It really helped me get over the messy divorce. There was spaghetti everywhere, but enough about my life. Or if you can't get enough, why not read my new memoir, available at the street corner after the show. I'll be standing next to the reputable store. Anyway, this is to the Stinkiest Person Award winner. I was robbed. There's a mantra in society that you should just go with the flow. Just let loose. Be who you are. And I say to that, what do you think I've been doing? If I let myself go anymore, I'd need an intervention. People feel sorry for me. In the streets. I don't even know them. I don't know what I'm more insulted by. The sympathy, or the free shoes. I'm just gonna keep being myself, until I can't look at myself in the mirror. Education. 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 If only I'd learned what a full stop was. Some people say it's important. Boring people A new museum has opened in a town, and it's open to the public. Don't go. This is a PSA. If we all don't go, they'll go away. Who do they think they are? Assuming we need informing of the facts and figures of this great nation. I don't need a museum, because it's all up here, and in here, and on my phone.